following your career, you have become known throughout baseball circles and really throughout other communities all across this country as someone who's compassionate, someone who gives of his time and his resources. In 1998, Harmon and his wife, Nita, founded the Harmon Killebrew Foundation, which is dedicated to enriching the quality of life by promoting positive and healthful participation in sports, specifically baseball. How has that foundation work changed some of the people's lives that you've encountered?
I've always been involved with charitable things. I think as I look back, we had a young shortstop on our ball club, Danny Thompson, who was traded to Texas, and he contracted leukemia. And Danny and I were very close, and at the time he died, he was only 29 years old, and his wife was young, and he had 2 young daughters, and I went to his funeral. And at the time I was in business with a former United States congressman from Idaho, and I came back and I was feeling pretty low about Danny and what had happened, and I said, I wish there was something we could do to draw the attention to what's going on. Certainly it was too late for Danny, but maybe we could do some good. And he said, well, I've been involved with the Vince Lombardi tournament in Washington for cancer research. Let's have a tournament in Sun Valley, Idaho, and you invite people from the sports world and Hollywood, and I'll invite people from the nation's capital, and we'll see what happens. This was the 33rd year that we've held that tournament, and we've raised over, well, the numbers now are up in the $20-some million for cancer and leukemia research. That gave me an idea that maybe I was here to do some other things rather than just talk about baseball or to play sports. So Nita and I formed the foundation in '98, and our thrust was to do other charitable givings, and we've now come to a point where our big thrust is building Miracle League fields for kids who have physical and mental handicaps, and that's what we're doing with our foundation right now, and it's something that I just fell in love with, and Nita did too, and we've built quite a few fields already, and we hope that every city and the country has a Miracle League field to see the smiles on those kids' faces. We think everybody deserves the chance to play baseball, and those kids certainly deserve the chance, and you should see them play. They love it. The field is a surface. If they're in a wheelchair on crutches or have cerebral palsy or something, if they fall, they don't hurt themselves. It's a great thing to be involved with. So, any of you hear about those Miracle League fields, I hope you'll take a good look at it and help those people.
And for those of you who have never seen a Miracle League field, if you venture over through the Hall of Fame gallery to our Sandlot Kids Clubhouse, the same field that serves as the floor for that clubhouse is the same material and the same design captured in a Miracle League field. So I encourage you to do that today if you have not already. Well, Harmon, in giving us that overview of your charitable work, it's not a surprise that the World Sports Humanitarian Hall of Fame selected you as a member in 2006. Probably worthy of another round of applause.
Well, no. That came as a great surprise to me, Brad, because when you're able to do something, usually well, like for my case, and it took a lot of people to do the charitable work that we've been able to do. It didn't come from me, all of it, so I have a lot of people to thank for that, but it was a nice gesture, but it wasn't just me.
How does the term courage transcend baseball, Harm? How do you see it in your daily life, or yesterday speaking to about 200 middle school students here at Cooperstown Central School?
Well, I think if you're standing up at home plate and there's a guy throwing 100 miles an hour, it takes a lot of courage hit in the big leagues. That's one thing. If you're afraid of the baseball, you can't play. You got to have courage to do that. That's for sure, and courage to because every day is a challenge. If you go 4 for 4 one day and the next day you come out and you go 0 for 4, it takes courage to continue to forget about that and go on and do the very, very best job you can. And I always approach the game with the idea that if this was the crowd that was at the game, maybe you're seeing the game for the first time in your whole life. And I just tried to do the very best I could and walked off the field knowing that I gave everything I could. And I think if you use that kind of an attitude, that's important.
Why do you think baseball is looked at as a example in this country today?
Well, baseball has shot itself in the foot over the last few years, and I'm not so sure that it's looked at in that light all the time, Brad, but baseball is still, in my book, the greatest game going, and it's a game that I grew up loving. I played all the other sports, but baseball is something special, the thrill of the game. I remember we had a pitching coach, Walter Boom Boom Beck, and he said, "Courage and will, perseverance and skill. They're the 4 leaves of life's clover, luck's clover." And every once in a while I'll think about that, and he was right. It takes all those things to be a good ball player and to be a good person, or to go through life in a good way.
In asking the question, why does character and courage matter to us as a museum, I touched on it briefly in the introduction, but this time last fall, the museum dedicated bronze statues of 3 Hall of Fame members that now welcome visitors as they approach the museum lobby before they even begin their Hall of Fame experience. The meticulously sculpted likenesses of Roberto Clemente, Lou Gehrig, and Jackie Robinson. The statues depict these 3 Hall of Fame icons as symbols for character, courage, and reflecting the achievements of each, because they serve as beacons for us even long after they've gone. They set the table and they set the remembrance that baseball is more than just a game. It's a meaningful part of our American culture and society. Last fall, the museum held a formal dedication ceremony and made a commitment to continue its celebration of character and courage as the enduring themes that best represent the Hall of Fame, the museum, and the institutional mission. Every day here at the Hall of Fame, character and courage lives on. It's on display in so many forms. And today's special guest, Harmon Killebrew, is a perfect example of other generations continuing those of the work that came before them. So Harmon, we're so pleased to honor your work and contributions beyond baseball with your appearance here today.
Thank you, Brad.
Sorry about that. We also have with us today a very special guest who exemplifies the characteristics and qualities of character and courage. And it was with his special support that those 3 statues came together last year. And just real quickly, I'd like to recognize him for all that he does for the museum, not only this weekend, but throughout the course of the year. He's a very special friend of the museum, Mr. Bob Crotty. And Bob, I know you're a little bit reticent about character and courage and what it means, but being here today, why is it such an important time for the Hall of Fame?
Well, thank you, Brad. First and foremost, let's move beyond the game of baseball and let's talk about the ultimate in character and courage. I want to thank anybody that's in the audience today that has served this great nation. I also want to there's baseball heroes, and then there's real heroes, and real heroes to me are the ones that are in the front lines today, serving in harm's way. So I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you all join me in thanking these people. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. The likenesses of Clemente, Gehrig, and Jackie Robinson. As a baseball fan who's seen baseball over generations. What are the important lessons that visitors can take away from their legacies even today?
Well, when you think of, baseball has given us so many wonderful personalities and great players, one of which I'm just honored to be sharing the stage with right now in Harmon Killebrew. But when you think about, sitting down thinking about how could I do something to give back to the National Baseball Hall of Fame and to give back to the game that has given so much joy and pleasure to me growing up. By the way, I'm just honored to be here with Marty Brenneman today, because when I grew up, the Big Red Machine, this is the greatest, to me, it's the greatest team that ever existed. And Marty's key into that. So I'm rambling here a little bit, but you think about all those memories and what the game has meant to me growing up. I wanted to give back in some shape, form, or fashion. And you folks have such a wonderful trove of treasures here, of mementos and memorabilia. I was just trying to think of I had to think long and hard of what can I do to really give something that's very lasting and indelible. So it led me to coming up with the idea of honoring 3 individuals of the game, in particular Mr. Gehrig, Mr. Clemente, Mr. Robinson, for not only their exploits on the baseball field, but for how they conducted themselves in life and the challenges that they confronted. So I was hoping that when people come into the Hall of Fame visitors today and for many years to come, we'll see that statue and learn from it that there's the game and then there's a game of life. And hopefully these beacons will teach each and every visitor today and for many years to come about some key values in life. And that's was the essence of it.
I don't think there's any better way to sum up character and courage. So thank you for taking time out of your audience participation to share with all the members of our audience today of why that's distinctly personal for you.